Hi, my name is Soliday, and today I'll be talking about chapter 23 of the book, which is called Journalist Judgment versus Audience Clicks. The very beginning of this book, or this chapter, describes about how journalism has aged and what journalists write about and what the audience needs to know. The beginning talks about how journalists choose stories, from how they choose stories about, what they need to write about to gain views and attention, and what they need to write about for people to actually know that is knowledgeable and that will help them in, whatever the time is. And they say, throughout the chapter, they say something called web analytics, which is now obviously almost on every site, almost every social media, almost everything. There's analytics now for, web pages, medias, videos, photos, just for everything. So the beginning of this chapter talks about a woman whose last name is Rodriguez, and she works for, a newspaper media company, and she does a story about waterboarding, because the government and CIA just released that they have actually done that. They said they haven't done it in like 5 years, I believe, but they said that they do actually do waterboarding. And so Rodriguez brought it up to her, her company. She brought it up to one of the main editors, and she told the main editor, that the story should be on the main page, the main page on their online website, because the online website has, their main stories, second, third, stories that might not get much attention. So they focus a lot on their main page and what they post on there. And they, make sure to try to get a variety of news that is just information and news that, you might need to know that will be helpful to you. So Rodriguez comes up to that main editor. She says, hey, this should be on the main story. The main editor tells her that they've already kind of done something like that and kind of just puts the story off to the side. And Rodriguez didn't like this because she thought this was like international news. This is something that a lot of people have been wondering, and it has affected a lot of people. It has, they've done it to people outside of, the states, the whole country. So she thought this was like international news, that this is something that a lot of people should know. But the main editor also disagreed and thought that it wouldn't get many viewers and it wouldn't get that much attention. So it doesn't deserve, to be on a main page on the front, right there with just one or two clicks away. So later on in this chapter, Rodriguez, she described it as, a missed story, basically. She described that it was important, that they should have had it, somewhere on the front, it maybe not the main, but at least second or third. Instead, they replaced her story with about a celebrity, I believe, in the local area of their newsroom. So they replaced that, and then after they replaced her story with that, that's when she decided to, I think, eventually quit her job. And then after she quit, she went to work on I believe, like another information kind of website that she used data analytics on. So yeah, they swapped her story out with one that wasn't really important. They swapped it out with one that was just informative, because I believe that, the two different type of news, there's the news that is just information, that is just, drama for, if you just want to know, and there's news that would be important, like currently what's going on right now, like the election would be important, for people who are in the United States, and that's also basically national news and international. If there is like a hurricane, coming your way, if there's something big coming to the local area, I believe that is actual news, versus like celebrities in a local area, or they're opening a new place maybe, or anything like that. Because they said that, in the chapter they have described, an incident where I believe there was a massive storm hurricane coming towards an area, and instead of focusing on that, because they knew that for some reason it wouldn't get as much attention as, I believe it was like another celebrity, like a celebrity came to their town, or like something happened to where they didn't focus on the storm that was coming that way, and a lot of people felt like they should have produced a storm. So this chapter, overall is describing what counts as news and what shouldn't count as news, and what you should focus on. And when it comes to this chapter, I believe, it is hard to balance it because you want attention, you want clicks, you want views, you want people to read the stories, but you also want to put out, as a journalist, actual news that is going to help people. So I believe this is, it all depends on balancing, the old balancing act of this. And I know throughout the chapter they use web analytics, and I believe web analytics helps out a lot for cases like these, because they know that what stories are going to get views and what stories aren't going to get views, and they base it off of that. So they already know that the informational type news that has drama, has just knowledgeable stuff, just has things that you might be interested in. They know that that's probably going to get more clicks and views than, let's just say, a new building opening or maybe a potential hurricane coming your way. They already know what's going to get more views, but they try to balance it out on like a main page of trying to give you actual sources and news versus giving you just information. But they at least know that they balance it out. Maybe some people will see it and click on it instead, or click on it after they get done reading maybe the main source of their news. And I do believe web analytics is really helpful for everything, because it tells you who's clicked from where, how many times they have, how many people have, how much they read, how long they were on there. I believe web analytics will change the ways that people, run online sites and what to do with it. And I believe that web analytics can be very helpful, but I also believe that it could also be very hurtful in a way. Because I believe once everybody has web analytics and everybody kind of gains information from other websites, that a lot of the things that they know will gain a lot of views, most websites and news will start to be repetitive, and they'll all start, having news on the same thing, and there won't be much variety. And that's the only bad thing about web analytics, since they know what's going to happen. They know how many people are looking at this. It will get repetitive, but it's also a good thing for just individual web, news sources. I believe that it all depends on who gets there first, and if they're going to follow you as a trend or not. If you would be the trendsetter, then web analytics is going to be really nice for the people who are following behind. But if you're the trendsetter, you'll obviously get the most views and you'll get the most clicks. So this all depends on what is news, what isn't news, and should you, go towards the, your company, or should you go towards more the audience and, what you think as a journalist. So overall, I believe this chapter was informational, about, ethics, and should you, how you should deliver news, and when and how, where, and what to use, and should you provide actual newsworthy things to the audience, or should you just stay with your company and just try to get as much viewership and views and clicks as you can without really telling anything? I guess that all depends on you and where you stand at. Obviously, I would try to do a mixture of both if I ran a main page and if I was a main editor. But I'd still lean probably towards actual news, because I feel like people would still read that just as much as just informational news. And that's all I got. Peace.